Hey guys, and welcome back to our second episode of Steampunks, the show where we let you know what gems are hidden on Steam from the last week that you may not know about. My name's Jess.
I'm Ed.
And just a reminder, we are trying to avoid games that you definitely know about already, such as the third Monkey Island game.
Yeah, which just got a re-release. And also shout-outs to Surviving Mars, which also got a release.
Yeah, so those games you probably already know about, but the 4 games we're going to tell you about in today's episode, you probably don't. So, Ed, get us started with the first one.
All right, so the first game I played this week was Synthetik. Synthetik is a top-down shooter roguelite set in the robotic future of 1985. Very good year. And it asks the question, what if firing a gun was really hard? Okay. So like in most top-down shooters, in general, it's sort of like a bullet hell thing that's wave-based. It's lots of frantic shooting and trying to keep enemies off your back. And accuracy isn't a big part of it. In Synthetik, accuracy is very important. You need to use your mouse cursor and point precisely where you need to shoot because headshots are a big part of it. So you do double damage with a headshot. And because the heads are so small, you can imagine how precise you need to be. Yeah. So it can be pretty demanding. Add to that the fact that each gun has recoil, so you need to wait between each of your shots to do the most accurate damage, especially if you have semi-automatic weapons, because every shot counts. And what also helps is standing still. So that's kind of really out of character for a sort of a genre like this. Yeah,
normally you'd be moving constantly, trying to get not backed into a corner.
Totally backpedaling, all that kind of stuff. The game encourages you to stop and start. And on top of that, there's an active reload mechanic where you have to hit E to eject your magazine and then hit R or spacebar to slam another one in there. And then there's the option of waiting for the reload to finish or hitting R or space again at a certain time to finish it quickly and get a double damage buff. I've always loved active reloads and I love complicated reload mechanics. There's a really great game out there called Receiver, which focuses on manual gun reloading. So go check out that one if you have time. But in Synthetik, it makes for a really, really tense shooter. Because you're constantly putting yourself in danger to line up the most effective shot you can. But it's all worth it because getting kills and especially getting precise headshots on enemies is really satisfying because the visuals and the audio are spectacular. The game has a really good screen shake when you fire, and when you nail an enemy, the bang is really good and they explode robot oil over the ground, and there's this huge red X that comes up and just feels really freaking good. In true roguelite style, the game's aim is to make your way through to the exit of these randomly generated levels, killing enemies and sort of picking up items along the way. You can upgrade your weapons and you can get new weapons. There are also multiple classes, which is pretty good. I played with the standard class and the rogue, who has a silent pistol, because it's possible to get the jump on enemies in this game. It's not in early access, it's a full release title, and it's really polished and it feels really good to play. It's a $15.
Cool.
So get it.
Sounds good. Okay, well, my first game of this week focuses on something that's probably familiar, aliens invading and trying to take over the world, right?
Sure, very familiar to me.
Really familiar. It happens like every Tuesday. But these aliens in particular, one, you're playing as them, even though they are an alien race, and two, they're super lazy.
What does that mean?
So this is a game called Lazy Galaxy, where you need to engage in this RTS/idle clicker/strategy game to help them build a base, get minerals together, so that you can research space travel and then go into space with spaceships and dominate the galaxy.
Cool.
Yeah. So this is, as I mentioned, an idle clicker first and foremost, which means you're literally clicking on asteroids that fly
idle clickers
through
can
space.
be pretty fun. I've enjoyed an idle clicker in my time.
Yeah, so the main thing you need to do is gather resources. It's the classic gameplay loop where you do research so you can get more minerals, so you can get more minerals, so you can do more research.
So you can go to space.
So you can go to space. You can upgrade all of your buildings and all of your ships. It gets to a point where, as you can imagine, you're just pouring resources into these upgrades to the point where holding down shift, you can buy 10 upgrades at once. These upgrades are really expensive. Holding down control, you can buy 100 upgrades at once.
So you're supposed to have this running in the background while you go about your day.
Basically, yeah. There's like a lot of an offline, there's a big offline element where you get back into the game and it's like, we collected this for you while you were gone. So the RTS element is in combat. So once you do build your ships, you can take off into space. And that's where there are a series of space battles that just take place on a single screen. Whatever ships you build, you can direct them away from missiles that are being being sent towards you. And you can also do a big box select on the screen to tell them all of them attack one person or what have you. If you level your ships enough, you can get special abilities for them. The enemies just keep getting tougher, and when you do get to the point where you get to the end of the, I think it's like 10 or 15 enemy engagements that are included in a system, you go to a new system and you start it again. I think for idle clicker fans, this is a really good one, and the RTS elements change it up just enough that it stays a little bit more interesting than what you'd expect.
Alright, so before we started this show, if I saw a game that had just come out on Steam, was early access, and was $4, I would for sure ignore it.
Yeah.
Right. It's something weird about the way our head assigns the quality of something with its dollar value.
Yeah.
And that goes both ways. Like, something cheap could be really awesome, or something really expensive could be really bad.
Yep.
But this next game was $4 and just released in early access. But you know what? I was actually surprised by how decent it was.
Okay.
So this game is called Armed to the Gears. It's a 3D top-down mech shooter, which has your typical dark mechanical feature setting that the Battletech franchise has.
Okay.
So that's like your mech warriors and all that kind of stuff. You've got a primary weapon, and you have an artillery or missile-based secondary weapon. And you move around the map, and you find pickups along the way to both change up your weapons, give yourself more missiles, get jet fuel to do sort of prolonged dashes, and get credits. Now these credits come into the other facet of the game, which is construction. The goal of each of the maps is to take all the capture points on the map. But since you're just one mech, you'll shoot your way to an enemy base, capture the point by holding it, and then build up autonomous defenses to protect it while you go out and try and capture the other points in the map. Because enemies who are constantly spawning from the existing bases are going to try and reclaim them. So it makes for a really nice sort of strategic back and forth as you're trying to juggle everything. So moving to a base, defending it, going up to try and capture something else, you know, going back to the old base and sort of building up those defenses and upgrading them. So yeah, it's like I said, it's an early access and it just came out this week. There are only 3 campaign maps available and they're pretty straightforward. So you can blow through these all in about 30 minutes, but the developer has said the plan is to release 1 new map per month. So I guess we'll wait and see how that goes. But as it stands, for a $4 game, I was pleasantly surprised by this discovery.
Yeah,
you know,
just
full
solid.
stop. Like, even though the shooting was a freaking cakewalk, like after coming off Synthetik, the light strategy elements really gave a nice sort of layer to that and had me thinking about other things. I think this game's got a really good foundation, so I think with some refinements and some more maps, maybe some more complex AI, it could be something worth keeping an eye on if you're not immediately interested.
Following on from that theme, I think in Steam, you get what you pay for is not necessarily how it goes. And that's very true for my second game, which was free. So I was suspicious as to what I would be getting. It's called Traum, as in trauma, without the second A. It's a free game that's been made in RPG Maker, and I love RPG Maker games. So the protagonist is Mike Smalling. He's your average dude, and his life is crap. He has a really average office job, and his boss is really mean to him, and he doesn't really have any friends and can't be like fucked making friends at work, and stuff has like gone to the pits with his like wife, and it's all like a really big issue. And yes, I think his name, Mike Smalling, is very in Willy Loman type territory. But then things start to go awry. So this kind of is a psychological horror game with Silent Hill type vibes.
Really?
Yeah, so it's really gruesome, and I'll say up front before I roll too much more of the B-roll, this is really adult themes. There's a lot of nasty stuff that happens in this game, and it is not suitable for kids. And good lord, they have done such a good job with the sound design. It's horrifying. You get phone calls and hear like awful distorted voices and stuff, and basically he's kind of going crazy, falling into his own memories or lack thereof. It's kind of like, is he having a break and what's going on with that? Or is this actually like a horror type situation that's going down? The narrative really is intriguing. It is basically about the breakdown of a relationship. and someone's insecurity kind of bleeding into insecurity in their relationship and jealousy and paranoia and resentment and stuff like that, and kind of how that's infected everything to do with him as a person and everything to do with how he has relationships with other people. There are a few different choices you can make in the game, and there are supposedly multiple endings, although I'm not sure how much they carry through from decisions you make during the game or if they're related to very late game decisions. The writing is surprisingly good, like way better than you'd expect for a free RPG Maker game. Falling into those horror type scenarios where everything's fine for a few minutes, everything's okay for 10 or 15 minutes, and then all of a sudden you can't get out your front door again, or you exit a room and you end up in like a horrible like red area and there's bloody footsteps all over the ground and stuff, is extremely disconcerting even in a pixel RPG Maker game. Yeah, it is interesting. It's a heavy one, but I think it's worth playing.
All right, well, that does it for Steampunk's episode 2. If you think we've missed out on a really good game this week, please let us know on our Twitter handles. I'm at Edmund Tran.
And I'm at Jess McDonald.
Thank you so much to everyone who commented last episode and said, hey, I picked up the council, and I never would have unless it was, free or something.
It's so good. I went home and finished it, and it was amazing.
Yeah, I picked it up, and yeah, it's pretty good.
Yeah.
I'm enjoying seeing all these interesting games and having to.
Definitely. We hope you are too, and we'll have 4 more games next week. So be sure to join us again then.
Bye.
Bye.